Everyone, I'm Jo Agresta. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Abodey.com.au. We help home buyers find property with the help of AI. And part of this video today is I'm doing a demo of our new professional platform. So this platform or this video is for any real estate professionals that are mortgage brokers, buyers agents, even real estate agents who are looking to streamline their property reporting in one place. So to give you a bit of background before I jump into the demo, what we basically do is we've partnered with Landchecker, realestate.com, PropTrack, ABS and Hotspotting.com.au to give you the best of data in real estate. So the idea behind it is that you give us the data, we generate reports in a matter of seconds and minutes that are fully intuitive, interpreted all the data, and it's custom to every single one of your clients. So no two reports are the same. So today's demo is for the professionals that are looking for a streamlined solution when it comes to property reporting, when they're handing out these reports to their clients, when they want to have a point of difference in the market and give someone like actual personalised information that often when we try to do this ourselves as professionals, it takes a long time. So to give you some context, I'm a buyer's advocate by trade, and this system I originally started as building it for consumers, so B2C, which we have a mobile app in market, Abodey AI. But then what we found is 30% of the downloads last year actually came from professionals. So when we surveyed that market and spoke to them, they said they wanted a solution where they could do it themselves because it saves them a lot of time. So on the back of that feedback, we built something. It's a test system for now. If you want to join the trial and be a founding member, we've got some perks for our founding members. We want to get the group to at least 60 people, but then we're locking it in at that amount and at that cohort. So it's your opportunity to be part of something bigger that's going to help us take this platform to the next level. And we want to build features that actually, I guess, to be frank, that you give a shit about. Without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to take you through a demo of Abodey AI and the power of what this system can do when it comes to helping you streamline your reporting. Let's go. As you can see, this is the login. Initially, we'll set you up with a login and you can learn more on our website about what we're doing, which is probably how you found this video. So let's jump in. Now, the first thing I'm going to explain here is that at the top of the screen, you'll see property searches. Now, this is a lightweight MVP is what I'll say. The back-end engine is unbelievable. The UX design will only get better by the end of the trial period in 5 months. Essentially, what we're hoping to do is add and enhance features for usability as well as more types of reporting and data. So we already have people in the trial that have given some great feedback when it comes to this system. So I'll go through that towards the end. For now, let's just go through this. So first thing you can do is we're allowing you to white label your reporting because we know how important it is for you to have your own brand and your own voice when it comes to, making reports. So you can see here I've uploaded Abodey's logos. You can have 2 of them, and then I've selected our brand colors. And then you can preview here what it will look like. So all these colors, the name and details, the date of the report will all be your own, not ours. I'll go through and get to how we get the output of this report and how quick it is. But let's have a look here. So just to give you a quick example, if I change the colors to these 2, you can see that it does update. And then it changes your brand and your view. So once you've done that, the first thing that we do want you to do is add a customer. Now, the reason for this is we don't track this information. It's nothing to do with us. This is so you can organize all your reports. So let's go through a sample, right? I'm going to do demo test, right? demo@test.com. And I'll just give it any random contact number. So now that we've got our customer added in, you'll see here that there's a couple of tabs. You can obviously filter these to find customers again. So because we want demo, I'll do a search and I can see demos here. There's property search, there's edit details. So you can edit those same details that we just did if there's any issues. And then there's preferences. One thing I am going to say is, as I mentioned earlier, we have Abodey AI, the mobile app. So if any of your customers, this is maybe important if you're a mortgage broker in particular, when you add a customer to the system, you can let your customers know that it does give them Abodey AI access automatically for free, and it associates you as their broker in our app. So it means that they can access property matching and different features and connect with you in the mobile app. It will also help us connect the 2 systems for another feature that we have that we're currently building in the coming couple of months, which is exciting. So this is just our first sample of it if you wanted them to have access. All right, so the next part here, we've got obviously our details, and then you'll see there's a tab here called preferences. Now, this is important. The reason I'll say to set this up first, like you don't have to, but if you do, it's better because this is how the magic of the AI works. So the questions that we ask, this is a client brief example. So if you say, let's say it's a first time buyer, they want to buy in the next, 3 to 6 months, maybe 0 to 3 months is more realistic. They're looking to stop renting and they want to upsize. In terms of location, set in the preferences. Now, the reason we're asking for this almost like a search, it's not a search necessarily like you're filtering for properties. You're doing this because our AI is going to interpret all this data and tell you if a certain address is a good or bad fit for your client based on this questionnaire. So let's say, as an example, we're looking in Cranbourne East, and let's say the client's budget, if they're in Cranbourne East as a first-time buyer, maybe they're wanting something a bit humble under the home buyer grant. They're looking for houses, but they're open to townhouses and apartments, units. In terms of bedrooms, they'd like 3 minimum, 2 baths, 2 car spaces, and let's call the land size anywhere between 300 up to 700. Now, in this section here for wish list and deal breakers, you don't have to select every single option. You leave them unselected, but you do need to have at least 2 must-have features. So the way you can do it is, let's say this person, they need a garage, they've got 2 cars, they want some extra security. A nice outdoor space would be a nice to have. If they're looking at, units, they ideally want something with no body corp and no owner's corp. If they're looking, they've got pets or anything, they'll probably want it fully fenced, would be ideal. And, a shed would be nice. But then when we get down here to land size, I do want something medium to large and I need NBN. It would be great if it actually had floorboards. I prefer that over carpets, or lino. I want a dishwasher. I also want air conditioning and heating 100%. Now, here's where you can get specific about stuff. So let's say you've got a client that is looking to buy their first home and, they don't have kids yet. They want to have kids in the future. So let's put a deal breaker here. My client wants to be within a 5-kilometre radius of primary schools as they children in the future. Let's say they also want no traffic and prefer a quiet location. Okay, let's see what our AI does with that information. Now the next one, generally clients are moving because they're maybe moving closer for work, maybe they've got family members they need to be near. You don't have to fill this in, but if you know the information, it helps. So let's say that, they're moving to Cranbourne East, so maybe they work in Clyde, but they can't afford to buy in Clyde. If you wanted to calculate, what this will do is calculate the distances to and from these locations for you automatically. So whatever the property address in question is, this will calculate it. I'll give you one other example. Let's say they've got a family, maybe their family members are in Lynbrook. Okay. Now, what features? So what will happen here is if you tick all these boxes, we'll give you the top 3 points of interest under each of these categories and we'll calculate the distances from the house in question. I'll show you what that looks like. Now, if they're open to renovation, cosmetic renos or no renos, you just make a selection. And let's say they do have a pet and let's say they've got a dog, right? Now, hobbies and interest, again, you don't have to fill this in if you don't know it. It's the same with the pet question. But if you do know it, it makes the AI output even better. So let's say in this case, they're a young couple, maybe TV and movies, family and friends is important, holidays and road trips. Maybe they're into gym and fitness. They want to do pet activities. They like walking and cooking and maybe some video games. All right, so pretty decent profile. And because it's their first home, they're probably going to keep it for somewhere between 6 to 7 years. Okay, so now that we've submitted that information, here's what the magic does. So let's go to property search and let's look up an address. So I've got demo test here. Now, like I said earlier, you do need to have the customer name mentioned here when you do this. So I'm going to get an address for you. There we go. So 75 Dartmoor Drive in Cranbourne East. Perfect. Yes, I want the report. Okay, this will literally take a matter of seconds, like maybe a minute tops, I would say. But we'll keep checking. You can see the time, hopefully at the bottom of my screen. Well, it's 11:23 when I'm filming this, so let's see how long it actually takes. And I'm impatient. It really kills my dev team when I'm like, we should do it in 30 seconds or 5 seconds. Shout out to them though. They built a really great system for us to look at and play with. Definitely made my job a lot easier. There we go. And it's popped up and it's still 11:23, less than a minute. So 75 Dartmoor Drive, Cranbourne East. Let's have a look. It's been on the market for 5 days, and you can see here that we give you the price and the distance, how far it is from your workplace suburb. If you recall, we did Clyde for this particular customer. Now, when you have a look at this, you can see the photos, all good. Looks like a nice home. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1-car space, 322 metre squared land. Now, here's the magic. This is not the property description from realestate.com. This is generated with AI and it's custom to your buyer. So if you go into view personalised insights, here's what you can see. So we've got a day on, we always give an indication of days on market. I'll attach the full report so you can read all the commentary, but I do want to just go through exactly what we talk about. So, you know, this property is a house with 3-bed, 2-bath. It fits the requirement of having at least 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. It has a single garage, which partially meets the need for car spaces. The location in Cranbourne East is ideal as it's within the desired suburb and close to primary schools for future children. The property also offers features like air conditioning, heating, dishwasher, and a fully fenced yard, which are part of your must-haves. And then the condition, so excellent condition with brand new carpets. So then you can have a look and you can see here that, yeah, the carpets do look new or redone, especially there. And it includes ducted heating and a split system aircon for year-round comfort. The main compromise would be that it only has 1 car space instead of 2. So already it's telling you why it may, like what they need to compromise on if they're looking at this house. And as we know, a lot of buyers look at purchasing homes through an emotional lens. And then investment potential. Cranbourne East is a fast-growing community with good investment due to its proximity to schools and shopping centres like Hunt Club Shopping Village, public transport and other recreational facilities like Casey Race and Casey Fields. The price range of this property aligns well with the median prices in Cranbourne East. So what you have to know is this is not random ChatGPT. This is a trained data set. We built this over many years, making sure that it's trained, it's educated, it uses actual data points. It's not going to give you something like inaccurate. It might say something in a weird phrase, but it's not going to give you inaccurate data. And then let's look at the insights. So you can see here that we actually have, these agents are asking 560 to 615, but then we've also given you the average valuation data here. So estimated value is 580. If you tap on that, it's going to tell you exactly why it's been graded that way. So all these drop downs explain how this is calculated. And below, the most important is using the calculation basis to see how they arrived at this price. So based on this already, I'm saying, okay, it's priced reasonably well. I probably wouldn't go above 580. I'd probably start my negotiations lower as an advocate so far. So let's have a look. You can have a look at it on Google Maps as well. So if you just wanted to get more of an idea of how it looks from the street, you know, or what's it near, like, and validate some of the data that you can see here. And then you've got the sales history and site dimensions. So this is where we've partnered with Landchecker. So Landchecker gives us all of the premium property reporting data, which is fantastic. So we give you 2 quick views of where you can see like the site dimensions, but most importantly, you can see all this information on the full report over here. So if I open this up, once it loads, we'll get that open. Okay, so what you can see here is all the details about site dimensions, zoning, so if there's any flood zones as well, but it's a general residential zone. If there's an overlay, so we can see here that there is a development contribution plan. So these are things to be mindful of when you're purchasing property, and it gives you something to talk to your clients about and warn them about. It's a development plan overlay as well. Cultural sensitivity, if there was any, Aboriginal or cultural sensitivity indicators, it would be in blue, like a big blue splotch. A bushfire prone area, you can see that they are near a bushfire zone, but the house in question is not within it, which means that they're not going to pay high insurance, which is great. Typography, so this is like for the contours, like if it's a really, hilly land, or if it's not levelled. Any easements on the property, you can see there's one that runs at the back. And then planning permit history. So let's say that these guys did a renovation, they did it through City Council. Typically it would be registered here. So that's like if they built a deck, maybe they did an extension. If you see any renovations that were done that were major, and then you're not seeing that there's a planning permit here, it's a good indicator that they haven't done something about it. So it's always good to know and check that information. And then nearby planning permits. What I love about this is it's going to tell you exactly what's being built around the property in question. And it's going to tell you what's been approved, pending, rejected, and you can see how much infrastructure is being built to give the property more value down the line. You can also see how to avoid more construction if you're not someone who wants to live next to, an empty block of land and you don't want to deal with all these 2-lot subdivisions. You can also decide that might not be for you, but at least your customers are going in with this full picture. And so are you. You're able to advise them and guide them a lot better. So now if we go back, the next lot of data that we provide you is the suburb stuff. And this is what I really love. So I think when you're dealing with customers, often they overlook things like how far is the nearest bus stop or train station, how far is primary school or high schools for their kids. This is going to give them a really good overview of that. So you can see here that it's within a short distance to bus and train stations. For shopping needs, there's several department stores. And then in terms of dining options, you have various cafes a few minute drives away, catering to your social life with family and friends. So it's customizing it to their personality. You can even see it here, like nature and parks, perfect for your interest in walking and outdoor activities. Education is prioritised as well. Primary schools such as Cranbourne Primary are only about 2.1 kilometres away, ensuring that future schooling needs for children can be easily met. And again, this will never generate the same report twice. Even if you did this for a different property, it's always going to personalise it. So it's going to look like you've taken the time to understand your clients and make this really good. And then it says here, overall, the location offers a quiet environment while being close to essential amenities like schools, nature, for shopping and convenience. And then you can see all the hotspots. This is drivability, not walkability, but you can see the top 3, like they've got train stations, there's 3 options there with under 10 kilometres away. Under 5, there's some bus stops, department stores, shopping centres, parks, restaurants, cafes, primary and high schools. And then if you did provide this information about their personal life where they told you they work in Clyde, it's going to calculate how far it is to work, how far it is to Limbrook. This obviously doesn't consider traffic, but there are some adjustments coming in future that will include stuff like that. And then lastly, we also give you the demographics data. So we tell you here exactly, the average age of the, community, who owns, rents in the location, because it's also good to understand where you're purchasing, the family composition, and then median monthly repayments. This is according to 2021 census. We are due for a census this year, so that will update to 2025 once we get the data. And then burglary statistics. So you can see here that, we give you the postcode, council and state averages. And then there's some more zoning images and zonal maps that you can look at and check out here, which is provided via Landchecker. So now let's say that you're happy with this report and you want to share it with your customer. So if you click on download, obviously, again, like I said earlier, we'll give you, this will all be white labelled, so you'll be able to put your own branding against it. You can choose whether you want AVM or burglary stats included. Let's say you do. Now, this is what your report will look like to the customer. On every page, you'll find that there's a box in the right-hand corner. What that does is it explains to the customer how to read the report. Why does this information matter? Why do we take it? Why do we talk about it? And then this is all the data that you've seen on your screen, but you're sending it to your client. And then a professional summary. So let's say, you want to write a note to the customer. You can say, hi, Sarah, hope you're well, blah, 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 blah. You should buy this because it's awesome. Right? Let's say, thanks. Joe, call me. I don't know. I would never say that, but just the point is you can write a message to the customer and write any additional notes that you want in there. And then this is all the data that you would have seen already. We've just explained it to the customer, understanding values, not about the price tag. So we're trying to really educate them without you having to sit down and educate them while taking them through a report. So our point of difference is sending this to a customer means that the next questions you get from them, if any, the questions are going to be a lot more pointed, a lot more intelligent. They're not going to be like, okay, thanks for the data, I have no idea what I'm looking at. And then you end up opening a can of worms where you have to sit down and explain every single data point in layman's terms. In this case, you're just handing them a report that explains to you exactly what they need to look at, why it's important, and how to make a decision whether they're going to purchase. The goal is to get them to purchase the property with sound mind, full understanding, and then you as the professional, you're giving this to them, they're going to feel like you really understand them because you've input a brief. We spent maybe 2 minutes putting in their brief and you've populated all these insights in under a minute. So now all you're doing is spending time reading it and making sure you're happy with all the information and data provided and then sending it to them. So if you download the report, that will obviously go into a PDF. You can attach it to an email, share it with your clients or customers, and that really completes the demo. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and going through it. If you want an actual demo in person, not in person, but online, book in a demo with me below or ask me any questions. I'd love to have you part of the trial. We're only opening it up to 60 participants. We've already filled most of the seats. And the whole goal is for you guys to work with us to help us improve the system in future. So here are some, I'll drop them in this screen somewhere, some of the feedback we've already received and what features you can look forward to over the next 5 months coming out. We have investment data. So if you're looking at preparing investment type of reports, we have a whole system that we've already built for this where we prepare a different level of insight into property. So that's talking about rental yields, that's talking about LGAs and investment potential. And the suburb data is very different to what we provide an owner-occupier. So investment reporting is coming up. Suburb reports alone, customized to your clients. So again, we take that same information about what they want in a suburb and their lifestyle, but then you can just generate a high level suburb report, which will give you more insights and more depth and some different data points. We've been asked about other data providers like HTAG, etc. We'll come into that for you. And also there's been edits to the AI commentary. Can we edit our own AI comments? That's one part that will allow you to do. Integration into CRMs like Agent Box and things like that. That's something we'll work on. And a whole heap of other little pieces of feedback. But overall, these are the improvements and features that you'll see coming up. By the end of 5 months, we hope to improve all of those features into this product, release it to the public, but you guys will be part of a founders club that we will lock in pricing for the life of the product if you're part of the trial because you're helping us build it. We want you to test it, we want you to use it, and we want you to talk about it with your customers and get their feedback. Ideally, at the end of this trial, this should be something that is a product that works for you. It's not an additional cost, but it helps you reduce all your other memberships that you might pay by consolidating it into one place. So thank you so much for spending time with me. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope we can help you find your next, data solution and we're your property report provider. Talk soon.